What's going on this Tuesday night in your corner of the world? Here it is raining a little, which is good because we need it. But the bad news is, of course, sometimes with rain we get a little storm action. I don't think we're in any danger tonight of having any service disruption, but anytime we do a break when I know storms are in the area, I always kind of warn you that if for some reason we had a power outage or a power blip or internet went down or any of that fun stuff, we hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, please know I would get us back up and running as soon as I could. Feedback, 100% automated, and we talk about that just because I get asked about that a lot. So yeah, what that means to you is anytime you leave positive feedback for me, you are instantly going to get the same in return. Second thing there is to say thank you. Always appreciate you bidding, breaking, chatting, hanging out with me. And hopefully we're going to make it worth your while tonight. This is a look at what's coming up in the days ahead. So tomorrow night, it's a new release day, and it's kind of a big new release day. We're going to start early at 8:30 Eastern, which is 5:30 Pacific. And we will be breaking for probably 2.5, 3 hours, somewhere in that range is my guess. Could even go longer. It's just an estimate. We're going to do a case of Origins football, a case of Chronicles baseball, a case of National Treasures collegiate football, and a half case, loose boxes from a shared case of Archives baseball. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at on Wednesday night. Then on Thursday night, it'll be an off night because I'll have to have time to sort all that stuff and get it ready to get it out the door to you. Friday night will be Majestic football and Chronicles baseball, both by the full case. Saturday will be encased basketball, the back half of a case that we started last night. And we're going to open a master case of Unparalleled football, which is 2 8-box inner cases. Equals a master case, so 16 total boxes in that one. And then on Sunday, we're going to start early there too at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We'll open a 12-box inner case of certified football. I kind of meant for that to be a master case of certified football. And yeah, I didn't change the listing template and didn't realize it till I already had a couple teams going. So we just left it a 12-box inner. Here's what you need to know about what we're opening tonight. This, of course, is a 9-box half case break of donruss football. It is a half case. It's the back half of a case that we started a few nights ago. Base cards do not ship to the teams. They had their own bidding spot. All the information about that, of course, was provided in the listing description, along with some very specific commentary as to what was and was not included in the team bidding spots and the base card bidding spot. I'm expecting all of the stuff we break tonight to be on the way to you roughly Friday. Now, if I can get it out to you sooner than that, of course, I will happily do so. But as of right now, plan on Friday. So, donruss football, half case break number 4 ended tonight on eBay Tuesday night, the 20th of August. And we've got team names on one side, our eBay user ID of our winning bidders on the opposite side. And there's our base card only spot. That is not a typo. Someone's eBay username is 00. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Like 007 sort of, except minus the 7. One thing I did forget to check is to make sure and see where we are in terms of payment. So give me a hot second to see if we are caught up there. Hopefully we are. And it looks like we are, other than the base card spot. And, well, you know, we'll just let that ride. So the base card person sees fit to pay for his spot later, then cool. And if not, we'll rock on. We're not going to wait on that one. So our donruss, of course, I don't know where I numbered these originally. When we opened this case, where did I number these? Gotta be on here somewhere. Does anybody see this? When we started this case, I would have numbered these on the somewhere, usually on the end, and then that's what determines for us which ones we open on which night. But for some reason, I can't find. Oh, you know what? Because we didn't number these on the end. I remember now. We used random and decided if we were doing like top row, middle row, or left half of the case or right half of the case or something like that. I do remember that now. just because there were so many boxes in there. I didn't want to take them all out and number them, but I am accustomed to having taken them all out and numbered them, so there you go. Old habits die hard. I was looking for something that isn't there. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. There's our half case. Each one of our boxes is going to have one autograph card, one memorabilia card, loads of inserts and parallels and numbered things and all kinds of other interesting stuff. As we go through the first box of it, we'll go a little bit slower and take a little bit better look at some of that, just so you will know what you are seeing in the subsequent boxes. And typically we will go through subsequent boxes a bit faster than we will go through the first one. This is the last of the Donruss, but there is all kinds of football here, all kinds of baseball here. I'm slowly but surely working my way through the backlog of what we need to break. I've also sold off a few cases. People have made me some offers on some sealed cases, so sold off a few things that way as well, just to try to get the inventory down to a little more of a manageable level, because it has been really a lot of stuff coming out lately, and it's all been so base card heavy. You can't set and break tons of it all in the same night because of not even so much the amount of time it takes to break it, but the amount of time it takes to sort it and ship it is really the reason you can't set and do tons and tons of base in a short period of time. So once again, base cards that look like any of those cards, those are all base. Those go to the base bidding spot. They do not go to the teams, just as an FYI. And again, hopefully everybody read the description and you know specifically what we're talking about there. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to switch up our focus. I just noticed that. That's why your background looks all nice and clear, you see, but the foreground where the cards are look terrible. So we're going to fix that. Now your background's going to be a little out of focus. But look at that, like magic. Our card looks good now. So there's an Andy Dalton relic for the Bengals, numbered to 299 to get things started tonight. And we're going to find lots of things numbered to 100. This is Legends of the Fall that happens to be a hollow foil. There are plenty of Legends of the Fall that are not hollow foils and are not numbered, but that one, of course, was. We'll find lots of Dominators. We'll find lots of Gridiron Kings. We'll find lots of rated rookies. So this is similar to a base card, but because it says rated rookie on it, that makes it an insert, meaning it goes to the teams, not to the base card spot. Lots of those. We'll find tons of the Elite series. There's an example of Legends of the Fall that isn't the hollow foil. And we'll find lots of those little advertising cards as well. What else have we got in here? Die cuts. Yeah, I always forget about these bad boys. And it's hard to forget about them because they are not fun to get in sleeves and top loaders generally. Had it right the first time. Numbered to 75. It is a die cut for John Johnson and the Chargers. A lot of times the little points and tips and things on those die cuts are slightly imperfect. That is just kind of the nature of the beast as it is with those die cut in those kinds of patterns. So this is an example of a rated rookie that is a canvas, which just means it has a slightly different feel to it. And we again will find many of those. For the most part, those are not numbered. If we run across some that are numbered, I will point it out. Red border press proofs. Those again, not numbered. If we find press proofs that are like the hollow foil finish, those I believe are all numbered to 100, I think. But we'll take a look, of course, when we see them. Power formulas. The champ is here. You know, again, many, many, many inserts. One of the hallmarks of the Donruss flagship brand is they like to give you loads of inserts to keep us busy. Jay Allen, you have the Bucks, the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Jets, the Panthers, and the Saints. That is quite a long list, my friend. Well, surely to goodness we'll find you something out of all that. This is Zach Ertz, numbered to 50 for the Eagles. I'll do my best anyway. And Brian is here looking for some Josh Jacobs. All right, Brian, we'll try to work it out for you too. The Rookies, another insert set that is, for the most part, not going to be numbered. That might be, let's see if that's an image variation. No, it isn't. Sometimes they are, but that one wasn't. So when they are image variations of base, they will, of course, go to the teams because that's considered a parallel. When they're just straight up base, naturally, they go to the base bidding position. All right. So we have found our relic. We haven't found our autograph yet. We have had a couple of other breaks. The first half of this case, and we also had an instance in the other case that we broke where one of our boxes had only a relic and no autograph in it. So that has happened to us twice, which just gives you, that's why, see, that's exactly why Panini always puts on average on all of their stuff. They always put that little disclaimer on there because, yeah, sometimes they don't give us what they're supposed to, and sometimes they replace our hits with rewards points and stuff like that. Staying Lover, you need DK Metcalf and Ryan Finley. You know, we had, did you see the extraordinary amount of Ryan Finley we found last night in Gold Standard? You were on, weren't you? Wasn't that? Yeah. I know you were. I remember that now. We were talking about the fact that you were thinking it was the back half of the case and all that. Yeah, that was a stupid amount of Ryan Finley that came out last night out of Gold Standard. So maybe that means we're going to be on a Ryan Finley run. Sometimes, you never know. Stranger things have happened. But right now it looks like we're on a Kansas City Chiefs kind of train with Mecole Hardman Jr. numbered to 299. Our autograph here out of box number 1. And I think I heard somebody saying that he was looking quite impressive in preseason kind of stuff. I haven't personally had an opportunity to watch the Chiefs play, but I think I heard someone mentioning that. So this is numbered to 500. We'll find quite a few of these with that purple border. They are mostly numbered to 500, although there's also a series of them that doesn't have the stats on them. I don't think it does. We'll look when we catch one. That are purple borders that are jersey numbers instead of being to 500. So I don't know. You know Panini, they're always messing around with weird stuff. So sometimes you've got something that you would think within the same product, you know, would be kept consistent, but yet it isn't. All right, give me 1 second there. I appear to have stacked some base with some inserts, so let me just get those flipped back around here real quickly. Before I set it over there, I want to make sure I've got it where it needs to be, make it a little easier later. If we need to look for anything, be able to find it in the right pile. Yeah, Staying Lover, I know. I remember right after I said it that you were there. It just took me a minute. It takes me a minute sometimes. I haven't had any Red Bull tonight, so you know I'm operating at a disadvantage. This is numbered to 10. It is Kendall Sheffield for the Falcons. Little Atlanta with some low-numbered inserts coming your way. Benny Snell, press proof fans of the game. See, she chose a team like she should. It's only Aaron Andrews that doesn't choose a team. So there's a press proof hollow foil that I was mentioning earlier. Those are numbered to 100 when we find them. And speaking of Aaron Andrews, if we do indeed come across her in fans of the game, it will have to be given out using random.org because she did not choose a team. Hers just has the NFL logo on it. So So there you go. Yeah, Stang Lover, you're not kidding. He says he needs to go for his 11th second mortgage with all the stuff coming out this week. Yeah, it's a really expensive week coming up. I mean, I know that the amount of money I paid, the checks that I wrote were quite substantial this week for all the product coming in. So it is, we went over it a little bit right at the beginning, but not everybody might have been tuned in. So tomorrow night we've got Origins football, Chronicles baseball, National Treasures collegiate football, and Archives baseball, all releasing tomorrow. We'll break all of it in a big marathon tomorrow night. And if you're not familiar with Chronicles baseball, I think this is the third year for baseball, and then they moved it and started doing basketball as well a year or two ago. But it's a really cool product. They take all the card series Panini does that they produce for other sports that they don't produce for baseball. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. And they put them all together in this one product. And in addition to that, they sometimes will go back to brands or I should say products that they used to have for a sport that they don't make anymore, like Momentum and stuff like that. It's to 100 for the Eagles. So it has got lots of parallels in it. A lot of times the parallels are autographed. There is a Chronicles base set, and you can pull Chronicles base autographs and relics. But of course, a lot of the chase is the parallels and the other card sets. And in basketball, sometimes, in fact, oftentimes, the one you might rather have is not even autographed. Some of the parallels are extremely rare in the basketball version. I'm assuming that in baseball we'll have some rarer than others. And what else about Chronicles? I mean, that's the main stuff you need to know about it. They did change the configuration a little bit this year, I think, in the fact that they now guarantee that there are 2 Prism base cards per box, which I don't think we had that guarantee in the past. Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster to 199. Piece of the football for your relic. The new number 1 receiver for the Steelers since Antonio Brown packed up his helmet and wandered off to Oakland. Numbered to 10, it is Clayton Thorson and the Eagles. Oh, Stang Lover, you didn't realize we had Archives and Chronicles coming out Wednesday, too. I know, it's going to be rough, isn't it? The only one I'm doing a half of is Chronicles, and we're just going to power through the rest of it by the full case because, honestly, there's, just, I don't want to break it by the half. Like, who wants to break a half case of National Treasures or Origins or whatever? So it will be a long break, but we are just going to power through it tomorrow night. We'll just make sure I get a little extra Red Bull in, and we will rock on. Starts early, though. Remember that. So that means, of course, everything ends earlier than it normally would as well. Mr. Steve Largent, that is numbered to 80 for the Seahawks. We pulled a Steve Largent autographed jersey the other day. That case of TriStar Game Day Greats jerseys. It's pretty cool. Oh, right, half of Archives. Did I say half of Chronicles? Thank you, Jay Allen. Half of Archives is what I meant to say, and it sounds like I said half of Chronicles. Yeah. So, no, it's full case of Chronicles, full case of Origins, full case of NT Collegiate, and a half case, loose boxes, of Archives. Because one of my places has given me a case and a half of that, so... I used to always save those loose boxes for the end, but when I do that, I find that I forget to open them. And I have, as a result, loads of that kind of stuff around here. So now I'm trying to do that more at the beginning so that I do not forget to do them. But really, I just need to have like a garage sale of cases of products. I have sold some out, though, in the last week by sealed case. It's to 50, Stefan Diggs and the Vikings. So I did get to move a few things on down the road, but honestly, there's probably a lot more I could move on down the road. Not because I don't want to break it, I just don't really have time is the problem. Not when they keep dumping these gigantic release weeks on us, which kind of is what they do almost through the end of the year. From this point onward, it not much of a break in the release schedule. Generally, it's January. About the only time where they don't just absolutely overload you with stuff is usually January. So, and even so, sometimes they push the envelope on that. I mean, you guys remember last year how late in December they were putting out Contenders football? It was like the day after Christmas or something, wasn't it? Wasn't that a December 26th release or some crazy stuff? Jarrett Stidham. And we got a little autographed relic, hey, for the Patriots, numbered to 99 with your rookie phenoms. So there's our autograph. That, of course, will go to the Chiefs because he chose his team. He put on his big boy pants and picked one. I know Erin Andrews probably has to be politically correct because she's a journalist. She can't just pick one team or whatever, I suppose. But honestly, there are plenty of other journalists that when they're not broadcasting will gladly admit that they have a favorite team. So who knows what her deal is. But anyway, we won't worry about her, will we? We'll just use random and find her a home that way if we come across her. You gonna open up a lemonade stand, Stang Lover, to try to get a little extra cash? It's too bad it's not legal to open up a whiskey stand or something, right? Like a bourbon slushy stand. That would be about perfect. Considering how hot it is everywhere right now. If you could legally open up a bourbon slushy stand, you would be rich, probably. Of course, here in Kentucky, bourbon is a big thing. So, don't laugh if you haven't ever had a bourbon slushy. They're a thing. Although, actually, I first encountered them not in Kentucky, but when I was living in California. A friend of mine from Maryland makes those quite a bit. Or used to. I don't know if she still does, but she used to. And that was my first experience with bourbon slushies. But when I was a kid, my grandmother used to make bourbon balls, and sometimes I think she got, had a few little nips of the bourbon as she went along, because some of those were pretty strong. When you're like a kid and you're thinking you're getting some candy, and all of a sudden it's like, woo, that's got a little bite to it. So I think sometimes my grandmother might have taken a few little nips while she was making the bourbon balls, because they were definitely some stronger than others. Damian Harris. This is another one for the Patriots. So the Patriots have two autograph relic pairings out in back-to-back hits. That one also numbered to 99. So New England is doing quite well so far here tonight. But I'll tell you another thing that was a thing. I don't know if this is a Kentucky thing or if this is just a, a Southern thing, or if it's just, it was a my mom kind of thing. But that's something else that would sometimes happen if you were a baby or really young, if you're still on a bottle and you were kind of colicky and whatever and cried a lot. The doctors would sometimes say around here, hey, just put, at least I think it was the doctor that told her to do it, put a little pinch of bourbon in that bottle. Still 199 for the Rams, Kurt Warner. I mean, not like any massive amount, obviously. But can you imagine anybody doing that today? I mean, you'd have child services blowing your door open with a cannon. You'd never see your kid again. But back then, that was a perfectly acceptable remedy. That is numbered to 100, rated rookie canvas studio series, Riley, Ridley, and the Bears. That's to 100 for the Browns. But really, there's a lot of things different. Not just our trading cards, which are, of course, vastly different than they were when we were kids. But think about when you were in school. Now, when I was in school, like, you could get sent to the principal's office, and the principal had a big wooden paddle. Now, I never got the big wooden paddle across my behind in the principal's office because I tried to behave in school, or at the very least, if I wasn't going to behave, to not get caught. But that's another thing. Can you imagine if something like that happened today? Principal, like, whipped a kid. That is to 79, Mike Edwards and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So see, that's what I'm talking about. That one's purple, but it's not his jersey number, and it's not numbered to 500. Panini, so maddeningly inconsistent. Oh, Jay Allen, you heard of alcohol in the bottle. You heard brandy, scotch, and bourbon. Oh, so see, some people were branching out. I think the scotch might have been, probably would have tasted better than the bourbon, you would think. Oh, Jay Allen, you got the paddle at school? For real? What'd you do, man? Tell us what you did that got you sent to the principal's office where you got the paddle. Inquiring minds and all. Yeah, these days, I don't even know. What do they do to you these days if you get in trouble in school? Do they just, like, suspend you and just send you home? Or, I mean, once you're past a certain age, they're not going to put you in any kind of timeout or anything. So, I guess maybe you just get suspended? I don't know. So, there are the Chargers to 25. Melvin Gordon die cut. Stanglover's being all quiet, so maybe he was a good kid and he didn't get in any trouble. Or maybe he's wandered off and he's like, this part's boring, I'll just come back for the recap. That's equally possible. Maybe more so. But, yeah, I don't know. Interesting times. The one thing I do not miss about the cards is that nasty stick of gum that used to be in them. Whew. I mean, even as a child, like, that gum was just bad. It was always hard as a rock, no matter, even if your packs were, you know, bought in a right shortly after they were put on the shelf and they didn't sit there forever. Still, that gum was like brick, but by golly, we chewed it. Like, if it's in there, we're going to take it. And it always leave that big stain on the back of the one card. That's still 100 for the Bears. Yes, certainly has changed a lot. Think about if they put like a stick of gum in National Treasures and we took it out with all that nasty old wax stain on the back. Oh, that'd be crazy. Jay Allen, all your teachers had paddles? And if, oh, dang, the teacher paddled you if you didn't make a good enough grade on the test? Oh, brother, your school was way more harsh than mine. Oh, no, we didn't have any, like, getting paddled if you didn't get good grades. I probably, well, I mean, my grades were actually pretty decent in high school, but I don't know. There were some subjects I was pretty bad in, so I probably would have gotten it. Probably would have gotten the paddle in like algebra or something. Hated algebra. Stang lover, you were having flashback trauma about getting paddled at school and you had to go get an adult beverage. All right then, man. Dang, Jay Allen says, so if you did not score well at his school, you got paddled, and then you had to take the test again, and if you didn't score high enough again, they paddled you a second time. Well, not to be rude, but there are certainly some people who, I guess the nice way to say it is maybe school was not their forte, maybe not their strong suit. So, like, what happened to those kids? Like, if they were already doing the best they could do, but maybe not up to the teacher's standards, were they just constantly getting their tails whipped or what? That sounds awful. Daryl Henderson and the Rams. That is numbered to 299. Our autograph came out reasonably early in this box, I guess. Comparatively speaking to the amount of cards remaining anyway. Yeah, that sounds like a really rough school in terms of corporal punishment. That's to 100 for the Dolphins. I would say that, yeah, you said that teacher was certified crazy. I would say so for actual, yes. Like, send that teacher maybe to the nut house. I mean, come on. Because there have to be some kids that maybe just were doing the best they could. You would think. I don't know. Maybe they thought it was motivating. Who knows? The Redskins and John Riggins, numbered to 50. So how about Jimmy G the other night? Oh, man, guys. He comes out with a 0.0 quarterback rating. My goodness. Now, of course, he hasn't seen action for a while because he had the ACL tear last year, and it is the preseason where everything can instantly get blown up into something way more than it needs to be. But also, it's the preseason, which means he was seeing not really very complicated defense and probably some second stringers and whatnot on the opposite team. So that was a little head scratcher, wasn't it? Frank's Card Corner. Hi. Are you just now jumping in with us? Well, welcome, Frank. He says it is his first break here with us tonight. So welcome to our little breaking family, Frank's Card Corner. Glad to have you. Oh, Jay Allen, you said the school overall was really good. That was just the worst paddling story. That is a bad paddling story, man. Like, I can't even imagine that. At least it was just the one guy. Like, if it was every teacher, that would have been incredibly harsh. So, yeah, Jimmy G is really, of course, got everybody buzzing about Nick Mullen, right? I mean, that's the end result of a 0.0 quarterback rating, is now everybody's like going, hey, well, Nick Mullen played really well while Jimmy was out, so maybe Nick Mullen should be the starter. I don't think Nick Mullen's going to be the starter. I think it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think this was just kind of an anomaly, but it certainly has had the bell ringing going on for Mullen since that happened. That's for sure. And then meanwhile, with my Steelers, poor Josh Dobbs, man. I don't know if he's going to be able to hang on to his backup spot or not. Of course, I think the idea all along was that Mason Rudolph would overtake Josh and end up with the backup quarterback job ultimately, but I don't know. Still got to be disappointing for the kid. He didn't have a particularly good outing. And then our guy that we cut loose to make way for Mason Rudolph, Landry Jones, is the first player to sign with the XFL. Adrian Peterson to $2.99, Redskins. So whether or not the XFL, that is numbered to 100 for the Bears, will last any longer than our most recent little foray into non-NFL football remains to be seen. But what was that one called? Why can I never remember what that other one was called? The one that just came out and didn't even last through the season this past year. Anyway, Landry Jones has signed with the XFL. There is a Lamar Jackson die cut. It is numbered to 75 for the Ravens. And I think by all accounts, Lamar looked, I think, pretty good in the limited showing that he had. I didn't see it myself, but I didn't really hear anybody particularly knocking him for anything. I think they're trying obviously to get him to throw more and run less so he doesn't get crushed up all the time. That one is numbered to 11. It is Denzel Ward coming out for the Cleveland Browns. Because, I mean, truly, Lamar's like a skinny little guy. And he won't last too long if he's getting leveled every other play because he's tucked and run, you know. AFL, yeah, that's right. Is that what it was, AFL? Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, I don't know about those, but the XFL is the one that is coming again. That's the newer league that is, you know, coming next. after this first one didn't make it, the XFL was already in the works and would have happened regardless of whether or not the other one made it. And of course the other one didn't make it, but I just happened to see the other day that Landry was the first player to sign on the dotted line with the XFL. So AAF. Yeah, that's it, AAF. And I don't even, like Alliance of American Football, right? Is that what it was? Or American Alliance Football? I don't know. I always thought it was just a weird name, and it was hard to remember what it stood for. And obviously, I did not remember what it stood for, did I? So there you go. Ooh, look at that. My iPad, daggone, my iPad just did something on its own. Like I didn't even touch it. And it changed the screen, and I'm looking at something totally different. So hold on, and let me get back to where I can watch the break. That was so strange. Huh. How about that? That's not crazy. J variations go to the teams. So again, guys, parallels, variations, the aqueous test cards, all of that stuff all goes to the teams. It is the base cards. Base cards look like that and that go to the base card category. And yes, before you ask me, because I know you're going to, yes, we do go through and look at all the backs of those and make sure that we have gotten everything out of there that needs to come out of there. Usually the test ones are, you know, you'll run across them and the back side will be up where you can see the word test, but sometimes they're not. So yes, we do go through and run through that big stack and look at the back of it. That is numbered to 100 for the Eagles Studio Series Canvas Rated Rookie Thorson and the Eagles. So it is literally the base cards that go to that spot. Not parallels, not the inserts, not the rated rookies, none of that stuff. That stuff all goes to the teams. All right. And of course, all that is outlined in the listing description as well. Pretty specifically lists what is included and what is not. That is numbered to 75, Deshaun Watson die cut for the Texans. Jay Allen, you are out of here. You got to hit the hay, my friend. Well, I hope that you have a good night's rest. And, yeah, you're going to need it for tomorrow because that's going to be a long haul break tomorrow night with all that new release stuff and some of it being, I mean, it's not super base heavy, but still it's going to take us a while to get through all of that. How about that, kids? Kansas City Chiefs with a little Patrick Mahomes autograph. Woohoo! That is numbered to 25, Kansas City, and your man, Pat Mahomes. Nice hit, Kansas City Chiefs. So, yeah, it's always interesting with donruss because there are so many variations in here. There's as much variation as there is base. So it is almost half and half. I'd say there's maybe a little bit more base than variation, but it's a lot of variation in this product. Kerryon Johnson and the Lions to 299. I know, right? You guys are like reacting to that Pat Mahomes. You didn't think we'd find that in here, huh? That is a very nice hit. Very nice indeed. Donruss will surprise you in that way sometimes. I mean, yes, there's a ton of rookie content in here, and that's kind of the point of it, is the variations and the rookies and whatever. But there are nice veteran hits that you can pull. They're just harder to pull. You know, obviously, we saw that's numbered to 25, so across the whole print run of donruss, which is a considerable print run, 25 Pat Mahomes autographs, at least on that particular card set. There might be other Pat Mahomes cards autographed to different numbers, but that one anyway, there's only 25 of them. And fortunately enough, we got one of the 25, so not going to argue with that, are we? And there's another one to 500. There's just loads of those in here. And for those of you who might not be aware of it, what Jay is talking about in terms of variations, they are photo variations. Obviously, these other parallels and inserts and things that we see as we go along is not necessarily what he's referring to, but there are photo variations, and when you come across a photo variation, that's not one of them, but it would have a little V back there on the back, and that's how you know that it is a photo variation if you don't catch it, going through from the front. So fans of the game, there's Erin. We were talking about her earlier. She did not choose a team. That is why it just has the NFL shield on it, which means, of course, that is going to have to be given out using random.org at the end of the break. And we have found the Erin Andrews autographed variation a few times, a couple of times as well. So we found it in the first half of this case, so I wouldn't expect that we'll find it again in here, but you never know. Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs with a die cut, and that is numbered to 75. Plenty of die cuts to keep us on our toes, right? And looks like we've got another gold variation then, which should be numbered to 50. It's Josh Rosen and the Dolphins. And it is, in fact, to 50. So is he going to end up with the starting job? It doesn't really look like it, does it? I think it's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick, a.k.a. Fitzmagic, may indeed, and in fact, end up with our starting job down there in Miami. Whoops, sorry about that. I ran right into the camera with that box, didn't I? Did I get that? Yeah. I'm a little kind of surprised about that. I mean, obviously, I'm going to try to get that back sort of where we had it. Obviously, there's, I don't know, what's the word I want to use? Concern's not the right word, but obviously there was some speculation about whether or not Rosen would get the job, because there are some aspects, obviously, that did not go well for him in Arizona, and there was kind of the lingering question of, well, was it what was happening or surrounding him, or was it him? So there's kind of that, but then you got the same thing with Ryan Fitzpatrick, who can be brilliant for a stretch of games, and then just be absolutely terrible for the next stretch of games. So his issue is more consistency, of course. Veteran guy that he is. But either way, I think the Dolphins will just go through with whichever of the two they need to use and sit back on their haunches and wait to get a quarterback in the draft next year. That's my thought on it. You never know, of course, but I would be surprised if they did anything other than that. I don't know that there's a big expectation for the Dolphins to suddenly be, you know, great this year or anything. So it's numbered to 100. I think it helps if you have your fan base behind the philosophy and they kind of know what's going on. Maybe you're going to burn a year, but make up for it with a really solid draft pick next year. So we will see how it shakes out, I guess. Oh, hang on one second. I stacked a handful of those in the wrong on the top of the other. And again, I do a second sort, but it is just easier if we keep the first part separated out tonight as well. This is numbered to 50, Marshall Faulk for the Rams. Anybody know the score of the Reds game? What happened there? Or is that game over? I'm assuming it might be over by now. If it's not, it's probably close to over with the Padres. The last I saw it was 1-0 Reds, but of course that's been a bit ago. Leonard Fournette, Jacksonville to 299 with a relic. Of course, the Padres without Tatis for the rest of the season. But they've actually got a really good lineup in San Diego, I think. Really, the downside to the Padres most of the year has been what you would have thought would have been the upside, which is Manny Machado. He hasn't been terrible. He hasn't played terribly, but he certainly has not had a hot bat of late. Like the last month or so, I bet he's not batting over 200 for the last 30 days or so. Maybe he is, but I would be surprised. He has not really shown much at the plate recently. Now, I say that, and then probably since I stopped watching the Reds games, he's probably hit like 10 home runs or something. But my observation has been that he's actually been kind of the weak link in the hitting for the Padres, surprisingly enough. But they do have a very nice group of young guys down there. So that's an example of a variation, right? So Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers, and you see that V on the back. So anything that has that V on the back goes to the teams, does not go to the base card spot. Andy Isabella to 299 for the Cardinals. And the Panthers, numbered to 25, it is Greg Olson. Die cut, of course. Oh, Hard Knocks comes on tonight, doesn't it? Is it tonight? I'll have to catch that later on demand. See what kind of drama we've got going up in Oakland. This is numbered to 75, D.D. Westbrook, die cut for the Jags. Although word is Antonio Brown actually showed up for practice today. Now, it was weird because some people said he was practicing off on a side kind of area or a side field or something and wasn't wearing a helmet during his practice. And of course, the helmet's been the latest drama with him. But then there were other reports that said that he was there and he had a proper helmet and he practiced with everybody else. So I don't know which of those two is right, but at any rate, it sounds like he did at least show up. So that's a step in the right direction if you're the Raiders, considering where things have been with him recently. So a hollow foil to 100, and that, of course, is just the team card. All those team cards are considered inserts, and they do go to the teams, whether they're numbered or whether they aren't. That's just the first numbered one that we've seen tonight. So that's why I pointed it out to you. All right, we have 6 down and 3 remaining out of this half case. I always wonder why Panini makes some of these products with so many boxes per case, and it's always the ones that have a ton of base cards in them. And they'll make, like in basketball, they make hoops and some of that stuff in 20 box cases. And you're like, come on, man. Like, no one wants to break a half case of a 20 box case of hoops. It'd be so much easier if they would do normal 12s, but I think the reason they don't is I think, and this is wrong, but I think Panini has a certain amount of money that they want to get for each case. And they will not, like, produce a case that nets them less than that amount of money, no matter what. So that's why you sometimes have these 16-box cases. Some of our things come in 15-box cases, 18, 20, whatever. Whereas with Topps, you know, you'll sometimes get cases from them that are less than 12 of various things. But most of their stuff tends to be 12, or then if it's jumbos, either 6 or 8. But Panini puts out a lot of high quantity cases for whatever reason. I think it's got to be the money thing. I think it has to be that they just decide, yeah, we want to make at least this much money per case. I think that's also why you have quote-unquote master cases, which is really just 2 cases in a bigger box. I think that's the same reason they do that, too. There is Matty Ryan to 100 with a press-proof hollow foil. Carry-on Johnson Power Formulas. Marcus Mariota insert. And Drew Lock for the Broncos. Wish that had been signed for your Broncos. Hopefully that kid's going to be good. I mean, you never know until they get out there on Sunday and show us what they've got, but they definitely could use with getting off the quarterback carousel down in Denver. So I obviously do not think Joe Flacco is any kind of long-term answer down there. I don't really think they intended him to be even when they signed him. I think they intended him to be just a stopgap until they could get to the draft. And then, you know, well, I shouldn't say get to the draft. They already knew they were going to try for a quarterback in the draft. I think they got him with the idea of maybe trying to let him sit for most of the first season and learn. But who knows if that'll last. It's numbered to 500 for the Redskins with Darius Geis. I think a lot of times these young guys get thrown into the game too quickly out of necessity, and it can just crush them, and they're never the same. But then there are other guys you can throw them right into the fire, and they just take off and do great. I kind of think Drew Lock is one of those guys that if you had to throw him into the fire, he might come out a little scorched, but he wouldn't totally burn up. That's just my gut feeling about him. Who knows if that's right or not. Alvin Kamara Power Performers. That looks like that ought to be... That looks like that should be numbered, doesn't it? But it isn't. I guess it just looks flashier than the others because of the colors of the Saints, obviously. You know, anytime I see gold with Panini, I'm trained to think, that will be numbered. Like this one, Phillip Rivers. Gold to 50 for the Chargers. And we've got a couple things trying to stick to each other there, as they are known to do from time to time. Tony Gonzalez and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's cool looking little insert. Legend Series. I like that. There's a Ram. And I started to say that's the end of that box, but you know what? It's not. There's a few little packs sitting right up there that we haven't taken out yet. So not quite the end of that box yet. Almost time for college football to get geared back up to, which is just crazy to even think about that we're already back at college football season. This year has just flown by. But I was talking to my dad today. He's got a birthday coming up, and I was trying to make some plans with him. Nice little Saquon Barkley variation for the Giants. And we were trying to find out, figure out when we could go out to dinner and all that. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. We've got the game and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, gosh, that is coming up. Legends of the Fall, Troy Aikman for the Cowboys. How about that for an autograph? Numbered to 10. So you want to talk about a nice half case of donruss? We had a Pat Mahomes to 25, and we're going to add a Troy Aikman to 10. Yeah, I'll take it. I will take that all day long. Another Aaron Andrews to go up there in the little pile. So Cowboys, nice hit for the boys. To 100, there is Jarrett Stidham. That's the wrong sleeve. With a rated rookie canvas studio series. Only the studio series ones are numbered. The other rated rookie canvas are not numbered. The Chiefs and Travis Kelce, numbered to 100. Well, nobody's excited about Troy Aikman, just me, I guess. Everybody's like totally silent. I kind of thought Troy Aikman to 10 was a nice hit, but, you know, to each his own, I guess. Kelvin Harmon and the Redskins. That is die cut to 25. Not everybody gets excited about the Hall of Famers and the throwbacks and all that. I do. I like them. So, especially ones that are really good, like Troy Aikman. I like to pull that. So, especially out of donruss, where we've already been fortunate enough to hit the good Kansas City Chiefs Pat Mahomes earlier. Stanglover, you would be getting only if you had the Cowboys or the Chiefs. Well, that would make sense. Yeah, that does make sense. Probably not quite as much fun when it's not your team. I will grant you that. You just want the DK Metcalf autograph? All right, well then let's try to do it. Let's try to do it. Try to find it for you. Oh, there's Nathan. All right, so Nathan is excited about it. He just got so excited about it that he dropped his phone. All right, well, good, Nathan. I'm thinking, man, I can't believe our Cowboys team owner's like not even excited with Troy Aikman 10. So there you go. All right. Well, good. Congratulations, Nathan. I'm glad we found that for you. Now, as Stanglover says, we got to get to work on his DK Metcalf autograph. Because he's getting tired of not being able to celebrate. He's got his adult beverage in hand. He's just waiting for a reason to let the confetti fly. So we got to try to help out Stanglover tonight too. There's Eric Ebron and our Titans. Some packs, those are facing the opposite way, and other packs, they're not. Don't know why. Adrian Peterson, a little Hunter Renfrow insert. You know, we pulled another Troy Aikman out of something recently. And it was the night, oh man, it was the night that we had a bunch of unpaid stuff in one or two of the breaks, so we had to rearrange the order. You guys remember? And that guy threw an absolute holy fit that we rearranged the order. And I was still like mentally so dealing with that when we hit the Troy Aikman, like it didn't even register. I was just like, oh yeah, it's like there's Troy Aikman, or maybe it was Romo, but I think it was Aikman. I was like, oh yeah, there's Troy Aikman for the Cowboys. Didn't even register until I was doing the recap, and then I was like, oh wait, dang, we did hit Troy Aikman. And the funny thing is about that night for that guy, if we had done it in order, his break would have actually been the last break of the night. So it worked in his favor that we didn't go in order, but yet he just absolutely had a nuclear meltdown that it wasn't going in, you know, the exact order that it ended on eBay. It was crazy. Chris Jones, Kansas City Chiefs, die cut to 75. Saquon. But, you know, I don't know. I guess everybody's got their own thing. And you know what? Everybody has bad days sometimes. So we'll just say maybe it was that. He was just having a bad day, perhaps. Happens to all of us somewhere along the way. LaDainian Tomlinson with a Studio Series Gridiron Kings. So that's the first of these we've seen. It's numbered to 100 as well. It's kind of that canvasy sort of feel. Yeah, well, you did get that one little Bingos relic. You're right. And I guess we could kind of call that we'll call that the teaser. And hopefully just a sign of maybe what's to come here out of our last box and a piece of whatever we haven't looked at yet here. So we're going to try for you, Stang Lover. I'll always try for you, my friend. Do our best to make it happen. So, does anybody subscribe to ESPN Plus currently? Because I do not. And I know you're supposed to get a lot of other extra content and things. I guess hence the plus, right? But I never wanted to pay for it because, you know, good grief. We've already got ESPN 1 and 2 and ESPNU and, you know, all the ESPN branch-offs like the SEC network and et cetera, et cetera. But they did make an announcement not too awfully long ago. You know, Disney is coming up with their own streaming service, and it's going to be called Disney Plus. And, of course, they own ABC, and they own ESPN, and etc. And now that they bought Fox Studios, they have the controlling interest in Hulu as well. So, apparently, they are going to package ESPN Plus with Hulu and Disney Plus, all for like $9 a month or something. So we're kind of thinking about getting that. But I'm just wondering if anybody has ESPN Plus currently. Like, what do you get, really? I mean, can you stream out-of-market games? Does it have more of a selection of what you can watch? Or is it just like, oh, you get a bunch of documentaries or something? It's to 100, the Panthers. Not that I don't like documentaries. I do. I watch them from time to time, and some of the sports ones can be quite interesting. But I'm really looking more towards extra games, you know, out-of-market games or things like that. So just curious if anyone has tried it or if you have it currently or whatever. And there's a Matt Stafford variation for the Lions. Nobody's jumping in, so we'll just take those crickets chirping in the background there as they no. Why no? We do not have ESPN Plus. Just answer that for you. This is Hakeem Butler. It is numbered to 99, autograph for the Arizona Cardinals. But I think that's a pretty good deal myself, if you put all that stuff together. Because I've had Hulu in the past, but then we just got rid of it and used Amazon because we have Amazon Prime anyway. So we just stream with Amazon and Netflix and not with Hulu anymore. But I wouldn't mind having it back for some of their original series and stuff anyway. So maybe ESPN Plus, if it's good enough, we'll get that little package deal. Keenan Allen on one side. This is numbered to 99. On the flip side, you have Mike Williams. So there's the passing the torch relic out for the Chargers. And there's Carl Joseph to 50 for the Oakland Raiders. Alrighty, we are officially at last box mojo time. So we've got to kind of collectively focus our energies, our efforts here, and see if we can't manage to conjure up a big smoking volcanic hit out of here. Let's see if we can make it happen tonight. Of course, honestly, we've had 2 really good hits out of here already. Aikman to 10 and Mahomes to 25. Those are both really solid hits, but you know what? There's no reason we can't find another one. So, yeah, let's just try to make it happen. And what's even crazier is that both of those would fall in the same half of the case, isn't it? Because we did use random, even though that time we did it by however we did it. I don't remember if it was left, right, or top, middle, or what. But anyway, there was method to the madness. And we did use random.org to help us figure out which boxes we opened in break 1 versus break 2. And you would think that the odds would have been that it would, maybe one would have fallen in one half and one in the other. But no, both of them fell in this second half. Fortunately enough for you guys, right? Or at least the ones of you who have those teams. Clowney for the Texans. Is he still holding out? He might be. It's to $2.99. I know he kind of was or was talking about it, or maybe was or still is. I don't know. I think it had to do, well, they're franchise tagging him, but I think it had to do with what position they were trying to use, because they have him listed as a hybrid with 2 different position groups. And of course, your position group is what establishes your payday on a franchise tag. And so then they were trying to tag him under the group that pays the least amount. Like, they're just like trying to make the guy mad at that point. N'Keal Harry and the Patriots is our autograph out of the last box. It's to $199. But I mean, seriously, the guy's probably already unhappy because he hasn't been able to come to a long-term deal with you. So he really doesn't have long-term financial security as it is, because you've elected to franchise tag him, and then you insult him by trying to pay him the least amount you can pay him. I mean, no wonder he's like, no thanks. I'll stay home with my feet up and I'll, show up later. Although maybe they've resolved it by now. I don't know for sure. I don't follow the Texans as much as I do some of the other teams, but anyway. Number 250, Nick Chubb. And, of course, the Cowboys, hilarious, right? So Zeke has been holding out, and they get up there the other day, and somebody asked him about, something about, like, what was it like, I don't know, without Ezekiel Elliott, or whatever the question was. But, of course, Tony Pollard's just been burning it up in Dallas by all accounts. That is to $99 on the John Elway. And so the guy answered with, when they asked him about it, Zeke who? And then he laughed, right? I mean, like, he laughed like it was a joke, but Ezekiel Elliott and his agent did not find that funny. Which nor would I if I were on the other side of that, and that was to 100. But I can't even believe he did that, because you straight up know that was just a shot across the bow. I mean, that's just, meant to, like, let the guy know, hey, we got other options besides you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Which truly, he's still under contract anyway. I mean, he's a rookie. And yeah, he's not a rookie. He is under his rookie deal for a bit more yet. And so he is being paid on a rookie scale. But he obviously wants to be paid a little better before that rookie deal runs out. And you can't really blame him, I guess, but at the same time, you did sign a contract. So I guess, yeah, they figure they can joke about it since they have Tony Pollard doing so well. I'm shocked, though, that they did, honestly. I'm shocked that they kind of did that. So there's an Andy Isabella for the Cardinals. It is orange, and it is numbered to 89, which that one is a jersey number, I believe. Might be the only one we've seen jersey number tonight. Yeah, the next time they do the CBA, I think it's just, there's going to be bloodshed, man. And probably the same in basketball. I think the next time anybody has to get their CBA done, baseball, doesn't matter, basketball, football, we're probably either going to have strikes or walkouts or lockouts or threats thereof. I'd say it's going to be ugly. All those bargaining agreements, I think, are a bit outdated at this point. Alrighty, so that is the last of our live cards. We are going to recap it, but before we do that, we got to get Erin Andrews a home here and all of her little fans of the game cards. There are 3 of them. And here's what I think we will do tonight, since they're all 3 just base cards. We are going to, of course, use random.org, but instead of giving one team 3 duplicate Erin Andrews fans of the game base cards, we'll just take the top 3 teams. So after we hit randomize, whoever's listed number 1, number 2, and number 3, each of you will get an Erin Andrews. How about that? And probably everybody's going, yeah, we don't even care about the Erin Andrews. I hear you. I hear you. But they've got to go somewhere, and they're not staying here. So there you have it. Oh, la la. All right. So once again, I'm just going to drop all the team names in here. Base card is a bidding spot with the break, so it's getting dropped in as well. And I will hit randomize 1 single time, and whoever comes up number 1, number 2, number 3, each will get 1 of these cards. All right, so it looks like Chiefs, Vikings, and the Texans. So the Chiefs, the Vikings, and the Texans each getting 1. So let me just get that labeled up. Now, you saw me put these in a sleeve, right? So you know that I am not writing on the card, because like I would have to be a crazy person to do that. However, if I don't demonstrate it, somewhere along the way, somebody will say, oh, she wrote on my card. Can you believe it? So there you go. See, on the sleeve and on the sleeve. If you do this long enough, you will find out that just about anything can happen. So, got to cover the bases, so to speak. This is just a quick little pass through some of our lower numbered things, most of this lower than 100, and then of course our die cuts mixed in here as well, because those are also lower than 100 in, I think, all cases. So we're just doing a quick little flip through of those for anyone who might not have caught it earlier. And then of course behind that we will take a look at our autographs and relics. Once we recap our autographs and relics, then I will put the spreadsheet information up. So anybody who jumped in after the fact, if you want to find out when your item is projected to ship and all that kind of stuff, stick around for a minute after the recap and we'll go through all that. So the Patriots, the Texans, Chargers, Cardinals, Kansas City Chiefs. We do have to look at this one again a little better. That's so nice. Troy Aikman, Legends of the Fall /10 for the Cowboys. The boys taking home a nice one. The Cardinals, the Jags, Lions. It's another very nice one. Kansas City Chiefs get Pat Mahomes. The number's down in that corner on this one. I was trying to flip it around and show you in the wrong spot, wasn't I? Then we have Redskins, followed by the Rams, and the Rams, and the Patriots, and the Patriots, and the Steelers. And another Kansas City Chief. Kansas City had a really good night tonight. And then Stang Lovers, Andy Dalton relic for the Bengals. All right, so that is the break. That is the recap. But let's go ahead and get our spreadsheet info up here. So once again, if you missed this earlier, it's getting ready to come at you. We'll go over it again here real quickly. So this should be out the door and on the way to you by Friday, unless something completely, entirely unexpected happens. I would certainly think this will be on the way by Friday. Would like to get it out to you sooner than Friday, but really shouldn't be any later than that. Again, barring unforeseen circumstances. One final reminder, base cards do not ship to the teams, had its own bidding spot. All of the details in the listing description will tell you just exactly what ships to the teams and what doesn't ship to the teams and goes to the base card spot instead. Don't have to worry about consolation cards here because every team pulled cards, so everybody's going to get a nice little package. Our upcoming breaks, that is what we're going to be looking at here in the days ahead. So tomorrow night is a crazy amount of new release stuff. So it's going to be a long break. You can just kind of plan on that. We're going to start early at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, and it will probably, I guess, guys, it's probably going to take us 2.5, maybe 3 hours. Could even be more than 3 hours. I haven't opened Chronicles in a while, so I can't remember exactly how long that one will take. But it's going to look like this: a case of Origins football, a case of Chronicles baseball, a case of National Treasures collegiate football, and a half case of Topps Archives baseball. And those are loose boxes from a shared case. Then on Thursday night is an off night. Yeah, after all that stuff on Wednesday, got to have some time to sort. On Friday, we're going to open the third and final case I have of Majestic football, and we'll open another case of Chronicles baseball, which, by the way, won't be break number 1. It will be break number 2. And I just typoed that. I did a copy and paste is what I did and forgot to change the number 2. Whoops. And then on Saturday, we're going to break in case basketball, the back half of a case that we started last night. And we'll break a master case of Unparalleled Football, which is 2 8-box inner cases. It will be a 16-box case. On Sunday, we're going to start at 8 Eastern, which is 5 Pacific, and we'll open a 12-box inner case of Certified Football. All right. So I think that has got us wrapped up for tonight. Oh, Mike has a question about Pat Mahomes. The Troy Aikman was to 10, guys. The Pat Mahomes was to 25. All right, so I am out of here for tonight. If I do not see you again for new release day tomorrow, I hope I will see you again soon. Meanwhile, enjoy your week ahead, and I will catch you the next time. Bye now.